Did anybody hear the news today? Well, I just seen something on Michael Jordan. Obviously, Michael Jordan is a person who people all throughout the earth will say that, he's a legend and he's the GOAT, you know. And you know what the GOAT is, though? The GOAT is really, truly the Baphomet. But we'll get into that in just a brief second. But yeah, they'll say things like he's the GOAT, he's the 6-time NBA world champion, and then he just won something with his race thing that he's involved with, race cars or whatever it is he's involved with along those lines. I'm really not all the way sure because I don't follow him. I don't admire him like that. I don't, because he's of the world and he has sold his soul for that status and level of riches. And you can always tell those who have sold their soul for substantial amounts of wealth. Because when you just continue to bubble up in this life, unscathed, no pushback, no major scandals, and you just continue to excel in the manner in which the world sees as one who excels. You serve Samael, Satan, because they don't let anyone, especially of his exterior nature, they're not going to let anybody reach the, especially he's in the $1 billion bracket club now. So you can bet your bottom dollar that he's been attached to all kinds of satanic ritualistic behavior. You can bet everything you own in this life on that. I mean, look at the circumstances surrounding his father back once he met his demise. He didn't even want to go to court. He didn't even go to the court proceedings because he already knew those gentlemen didn't do it. And I think they're out now by now. But he knows that they had nothing to do with it. See, multiple things occurred back during Jordan's first retirement. A lot of things occurred. But that was a ritualistic killing because, the secret oath that these people have to be attached to en route to the accumulation of that wealth. This is the only way he's been able to reach the status in which he currently holds. So, and they have to constantly and continually engage in ritualistic behavior, some type of Satanism of some proportion. It's inevitable. There's no way around it. Otherwise, he would have never even reached 6 championships and all of the other achievements in which he's been able to accomplish. He would have never been able to do it. This is not my mere assessment. This is the facts. This is the unadulterated truth on the matter. But anyway, there was a video out. He was grabbing this little kid's rear end in a very explicit manner. And you can clearly tell that he wasn't trying to pull the kid's shirt out. It's almost like he was filling him up. But see, it'd be little actions like those that fly completely under the radar. And he just won some type of championship or something with his little racing thing that they've got, that he's involved in now. Some type of motorbikes, motor something. So, there's always child sacrifice. There's always something along those lines. Some type of pedophilia type of actions. It's always something along those lines that these people have to be attached to. So he was grabbing the young man's gluteal region in a pretty rude manner, you know. But it doesn't surprise me because, you know, I mean, look how much wealth he's been able to accumulate throughout this life with next to no pushback, you know. So these are the things that I'm saying that's going on in our world, and it's flying completely under the radar. Then you got the Epstein situation and all of that. You know, it's all tied in together. You know, Oprah. I remember her school she had in Africa. I don't know if she still has that school or not. Excuse me. But I heard the girls were getting raped and going through all kind of traumatic experiences in the school that she had opened up in Africa. And this is a common thing with anyone who's reached a certain level of worldly success, because this is you know, they got to pay the piper. You know, they got to put their work in. They got to continue to attach themselves to demonic ritualistic behavior to continue to achieve and maintain that level of status. And this is a messed up world we're living in. But all that to the side, people will still worship and look up to these people under the guise of, you know, oh, they're legends, or, you know, oh, he's a black man who's done achieved this, that, and the third. And it's like, first of all, we got to stop looking at things from a color perspective in the way in which they've ingrained it into our hearts and minds. You know, there's no such thing as black and white. You've got Edomites, you've got Judites, you know, you've got the people from the lost tribes of Israel who are still here, like Nepali. Those are your Hawaiian people. Issachar, that's your Mexican people. You know, so on and so forth. So it's about, you got to know who everybody truly is, and then you'll really be able to follow what's going on out here. But it starts there. This color thing is just something that they could, cause think about it. Like during slavery's been around even since way back then. But you got to know who was doing the enslaving, who was enslaved, and who's been continually enslaved on some level or another. It ain't just because people were black. It's deeper than that. This is biblical. But, you know, and then it just goes to show a person like Michael Jordan, he can get right there on TV and be caressing this young man's gluteal region, and there's not going to be any pushback. People will still be like, man, I'm still going to go buy those J's. Like that, even since I was younger, like this whole thing with and I'm not saying I've never owned a pair of Jordans. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, let's just keep it real for a second. We'll give all that worship and idol worship to an individual like that, who is behind his own father's killing. I don't care what you say. At the end of the day, when you have eyes to see, you can see these things for what they truly are. So, you know, that's what it is. But yeah, but a person like that can get right on national TV, start caressing this young man's gluteal region and his calf muscles. And there is, you know, and they'll start doing things like this more and more, because we're in the age of information, you know, and more you're going to see things like this, because it's like, at the end of the day, what can you really do about it? Keep your faith in the Most High God and let him handle it, because they've got the whole earth locked up, getting ready to go into this next phase, like I keep saying. I mean, ever since 2020, This world has been completely changed. Evil is more out there on the forefront. They don't hide in their little cracks and crevices anymore. Everything's on front display now, like, hey, look at me, do something about it. You know, because they know they can do whatever they want and nothing's gonna happen. You know, Satan takes care of those who worship him. There's no doubt about that. But as soon as one gets outside of those lines, destruction awaits for those who decide to follow him. If people had that same enthusiasm that they take and how they idol worship Michael Jordan and his shoes and people like that, if they took that energy and applied it to serving the Most High God, well, things would change. Curses would cease to be. And that's what we got to understand too. We go through the things we go through because we're under the curses, because of sin. Sin gives the forces of darkness the legal spiritual access to mess with you, to torment, and to cause you all of this pain and problems. Turn away from the sin, get back to serving the Most High. Now that's access denied instantly. That's what we need to get back to. Time is, how's everybody doing out there? I'm blessed. Hope everybody's blessed out there. I just be freestyling my lives, everybody, you know. That's all I be doing. No, nothing scripted, nothing pre-planned. I just go right into it. But yeah, so we need to, this thing with Michael Jordan needs to really be examined for what it is. You know, all these satanic actions are just being placed right out there on the forefront with no pushback. But, you know, everybody's they're gonna have their, I'm still gonna go buy them Jordans. I'm not gonna buy a pair of J's because it's insane. And he, you know, and anybody can do whatever they want to do with their own money. But if you're not even gonna put into your own, how can, just based off of because every culture puts into their own. So there's nothing wrong with that. And that's what I was getting to a few minutes ago. He does nothing for his own communities at all whatsoever. And he knows he sold his soul, did his wife bad behind his own father's murder. I mean, come on now. He didn't even go to the court proceedings. He knew those gentlemen didn't really do it. See, there's a lot of these situations in this world that has occurred, flew straight up under the radar, under the guise of absurd pieces of fiction. But hey, it's all good. I know this guy, he every pair of Jordans that come out, he'll do whatever it takes to go get them. He'll travel, everything. And then his whole conversation is always about Jordans, women, or money. So it's like I've had to separate myself because I'm on a different path in life. These are not the things that are to be glorified. And then more and more, you have people prancing around talking about, oh, if it ain't about money, it ain't about nothing. It's always about the almighty dollar, never about Christ. Then when you bring up Christ, they've got every excuse under the sun not to even hear what you're saying. There's no way I could be content chasing around monopoly money knowing my soul's not intact. Like that's a scary thing. Because we can pretend like, you know, the spiritual realm is fake. We can continue to operate like it's not real, all in which we like. But on that day of judgment, the proof will be in the pudding, Jack. Believe you me, when you sitting up here being held accountable for what you did and didn't do and didn't even consider to even try to do, that's going to be very scary. Especially knowing only few are going to make it and the majority aren't, because man refuses to turn away from sin. Man covets worship. Man wants the riches of the world, but that's been reduced down to paper monopoly money, because these people got the real resources. You know, they got whole bases up there on the other side of the firmament. I mean, they can open up portals. They can open up portals. Like I said, all this technology was at the Tower of Babel. The pyramids, they used to travel through those. They used to open up portals through the pyramids. That's the part they're not going to tell nobody about. So studying to show thyself approved, that's major. And then how so many people, they'll water down the Holy Scriptures. They'll water down the Holy Scriptures and then even try to insert their own ideological views. Sitting up here acting like everything in the Word isn't literal. Especially when we're talking about spiritual hierarchy with an immense, insane amount of power. I mean, he created the earth, for goodness sakes, and everything in it. Look how he created our bodies to operate and work. How our bodies can fight against disease and everything, can cure everything that they've created. He put fail-safes in place. But you got to pray for that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because if you don't have it, you'll eat 3 times a day because they told you. And, you know, they've got their sorcerers in their white jackets on, talking about, oh, to have a complete and satisfactory diet, one must eat 3 meals a day with such and such amount of calories and carbs and yah. Not even understanding that the ancients never ate 3 times a day. In fact, they didn't even eat every single day. Look at the animals in the wild. Do they eat every single day sometimes? No. And then when they're sick and not feeling good, they don't eat. They fast even. So, you know, we got to get back to the real. We got to get back to the way things the Most High intended it for them to be. Because like I said, it's getting ready to be a major separation between the weak and the strong. The spiritual weak and the spiritual strong. Those who's got faith and those who don't. Those who are still going to be trying to accumulate worldly success. And those who are trying to put all their faith and confidence in the Most High with hopes of making it into his kingdom. Because ultimately, that is what really truly matters. You can't sit up here and be doing everything you can, you know, to be trying to accumulate this insane amount of worldly success, especially on a Michael Jordan type of level. Because to reach that level, you got to be engaged with the forces of darkness anyway, on a high level of Satanism. So it's deep out here. It is so deep. It's extremely deep out here. People just don't have the slightest inclination of how deep life really truly is. And at this juncture anyway, most individuals out here roaming around aren't even real, soulless, intermixed into society, especially the ones who, following you around all crazy, acting like they private investigators when they're just agents for the forces of darkness. We are in some unique times. The times we're currently in are the times of the prophets of old talked about. The times that we are in right now in real time are the times spoke of by the prophets of old. That should scream into you guys' ears. It should scream. And we should already anticipate once we get on Team Most High and we're rolling like that on a real level, we should expect turmoil. We should expect the forces of darkness to throw all of their fiery darts and arrows at us. We should expect traps and snares being set, but we don't have to fall into them. Trust in the Most High, and He's going to navigate us through. Because they're going to use every tactic known to man en route to try to get people to accept that digital ID, that market beast. Then you're gonna have people, oh man, I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna feed mines. That's all it'll take. They'll threaten with something like that. They'll cave instead of trusting the Most High. Gonna get them through it. I remember I was the only person out as big as Dallas is during the 2020 Boogeyman Sickness campaign. I remember all the lies that were being spread. Oh man, the hospitals are overflooded with patients. Man, they were sending staff home because there wasn't nobody in the hospital. And then there wasn't nobody out in the streets either. It was just me out roaming around when I had to go handle my business. And I'm on the phone talking to people talking about some, oh man, you better get indoors, man. Man, this sickness all in the air. Man, Wuhan, China, and a bat, and man, pump the brakes, stop the madness. I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to listen to it at all. I believe in the Most High, and ever since I've been rolling that way, things have been better than great. And I'm not talking about on the level in which the world sees it. I'm saying generally great. So it is what it is. It's amazing how, like I said, they have agents of evil everywhere. Like this person back here on this bicycle, listening in, following around things. See, I don't have to make anything up. Because where I'm at, people in this city don't ride bicycles. They don't even get out and about like that on foot. So, any actions outside of what's deemed the norm here, they're easy to spot. They're going to be easy to spot anyway. things in which I was sitting here saying, if they wasn't true and accurate, if I didn't know what I was talking about, praises be to the Most High, there wouldn't be no reason to follow me around. Kingdom of darkness, they already know they've lost. It's a done deal. Now it's about, how many can they get to burn with them in the lake of fire? That's what it's about on their end of the spectrum. So we need to keep that in mind. But with that said, blessings to everybody. Stay prayed up. Put all your faith in Christ. Because anything outside of that, all you're doing is waiting to be destroyed. That's it. Those are the choices. I didn't make it that way. I'm just the messenger. Blessings.